Amidst the snow-covered birch forest, the air was bitterly cold. Gilly gently bowed, reporting to the young master standing nearby. "Young master, I have carried out your orders." Jin Runcandel looked up at his loyal nanny, simply replying, "Thank you, Gilly," then turned to the large man standing before him. The boy's expression was serious, devoid of any immaturity. He asked, "You said you are Mureka, captain of the Black King's Special Forces, correct?" "That's right," Mureka confirmed, his voice calm and steady. Jin nodded, his eyes reflecting gratitude yet also full of dignity. "My successful escape was thanks to you diverting their attention from me. As soon as we reach Runcandel Castle, I will report your assistance and the family will certainly reward you generously. Please help set up the warp gate." Overwhelmed by the boy's demeanor, Mureka responded somewhat awkwardly, I will do my best." As Jin and Gilly turned their backs, Mureka stood silently watching their figures against the white snow. He couldn't help but ponder. This kid, even if he's a Runcandel, why is he wandering outside the castle? He's only 10 years old, yet so confident and composed. Perhaps what he just said. An image suddenly flashed in Mureka's mind. It was the moment Jin's eyes shone brightly with determination, and the boy had declared a line that shook the listener. "I am looking at the path that will usher in the era of Jin Runcandel." Mureka instinctively clenched his fist. Now he understood. Perhaps those weren't the random words of a child, but spoken very seriously.
Mureka's voice boomed, shattering the silence. "You all, no, everyone, listen up. Until the warp gate is established, be careful with every action. Don't do anything foolish, understand?" His soldiers began murmuring in confusion and discontent. "What? Captain, what kind of ridiculous order is this? Since when did we have to worry about such things?" "Silence and obey me," Mureka snapped, silencing all complaints. Gilly, gently taking Jin's hand, approached. "Captain Mureka, I think we can depart now." All right," Mureka replied, then turned to his squad. "Let's move out." He tightened his armored fist, his eyes resolute as the group began to traverse the cold, snowy land. As they walked along a high, windy ridge, Mureka nervously looked back. "Is it all right to just leave those imposters alone?" Gilly continued walking calmly, her voice as cold as the biting wind whipping their faces. "It's fine. Whether they are found alive or dead, they will be a good example for their comrades." Below in the chasm, a dark figure lay motionless on the snow, a pool of dark blood spreading around it. Jin looked up at his guardian, his young face showing clear seriousness. "Gilly did very well, thank you." Gilly smiled, her eyes softening as she looked at the boy. "Ah, they reported we'll reach a village in about 2 hours. Jin replied, "Is that so? We'll probably have to wait there until the snow stops falling."
Under the cold night sky, snowflakes softly fell in the silent space when Jin suddenly called out, "Gilly!" "Yes?" Gilly turned, her eyes showing a hint of surprise. Jin looked at his nanny with remorse and reassurance. "Don't worry about the escort. It's not your fault. Even Khan, a 9-star knight, didn't realize what was happening. It would be even harder for you, a 7-star warrior, to notice anything unusual. My telling a guard knight what to do is no big deal." Hearing Jin's words, Gilly simply bowed her head, turned away, and mumbled, "I'm sorry." Looking at her back, Jin thought to himself, Gilly is still the same. Memories of his past life suddenly flooded his mind. In the splendid yet cold rooms of the Runcandel clan, a nanny's fate was always intertwined with the child they were in charge of. In his past life, Gilly was his nanny. Because he was an incompetent person, scorned and looked down upon by everyone, she also had to endure that bitter fate. Yet, Jin remembered profoundly, Gilly never once resented him for it.
The memory of his expulsion from the Runcandel family resurfaced in Jin's mind. In the desolate courtyard of the castle, under the gently falling snowflakes, young Jin knelt on the cold stone ground, head bowed in despair. Gilly, the nanny who had cared for him since childhood, was also being expelled with him. She stood there, hands clasped together in worry, then bowed deeply, her voice choked with remorse. "Young master, I am sorry I could not serve you better." Because Gilly had always treated him so kindly, Jin never wanted to be harsh with her. But now things were different. This life was no longer like his previous one. He needed Gilly to become tougher and more resolute. Gilly's hands clenched, and she bowed her head, her voice full of anguish. "Young master, I am ready to accept any punishment for this matter." Jin abruptly cut her off, his voice sharp and commanding. "Stop blaming yourself. This is my command to you, Gilly. While you are my nanny, you are also the only guardian knight I have. If you keep letting such trivial matters bother you, there will be problems later when you escort me." Gilly looked up sharply, her eyes wide with astonishment at her young master's words. She could only utter a single "ah" in her stunned state. Jin turned and walked away, his small back radiating an unusual steadfastness amidst the bitter snowy mountain landscape. He didn't look back, only delivering a final, decisive, and powerful statement. "Therefore, never make me say these things again. Understand?"
In the vast landscape of snow-capped mountains, Gilly looked up at her young master, her eyes gleaming with determination. She replied to him in a firm voice, "Yes, young master, I will fix that." Every word of Jin's was like warm water flowing into her cold heart. Gilly thought to herself, she never expected the young master to worry about her so much. Everything he said was for her sake, so she had to pull herself together, become stronger so no one could hurt the young master again. With that thought, Gilly clenched her fists, her cheeks slightly puffed out in an expression that was both adorable and resolute. "Young master, I will do my best." Jin silently observed her, a sense of relief spreading through his heart. What a relief! It seems she's cheerful again. Soon, the group arrived at a small town and found a cozy inn, its wooden door opening to welcome them in from the biting cold outside. A warm woman spoke up, "Welcome, travelers." The red-haired knight accompanying them approached the counter, responding to the innkeeper, "2 rooms, please." Meanwhile, Jin stood behind them, his sharp gaze not leaving those around him. He was lost in thought about the fake escort knights they had encountered. That incident, and those fake escort knights too. If I'm guessing correctly, it's very likely that person is involved. At the same time, in a dark and distant place, threads of blood-red energy intertwined like a giant spiderweb. At the center of this malevolent space was a large man with a brawny back, the transformation mage Bubare Gaston. Transformation was originally a type of magic that dragons excelled at. A colossal black shadow in the form of a dragon coiled, then slowly shrank into the shape of a small, graceful black cat. However, even mighty dragons could not perform a perfect transformation.
In Jin's memory, Bubare was a unique being, the only one capable of performing perfect transformation. He had used that power to commit countless transformation crimes, spreading chaos throughout the world. Leaning by the wooden door, Jin pondered, a pensive look on his face. He thought to himself, if Bubare truly is involved in this, then things have become incredibly complicated. Although he hasn't caused any major trouble yet, in my previous life when I was 20, Benman's Special Agent Division arrested him. Jin flopped down onto the edge of the bed, his mind still reeling with calculations. He considered Bubare's potential. If I could turn him into an ally, he would be very useful. But then a surge of caution rose within him. But I have no reason to recruit someone who has drawn a sword against me. The final decision had yet to be made. Jin rubbed his temple gently, his eyes gleaming with determination. Before Bubare causes more trouble, I need to check if anything has changed compared to my previous life. He let out a small yawn, the weariness of a long day finally catching up to him. Seeing his master seem to be settled, Gilly smiled warmly. "Master, I'll go stand guard outside now."
Just as she turned around, Gilly saw Jin had already fallen asleep. "Young master?" On the large bed, Jin was fast asleep, his outfit still intact. Gilly approached, a gentle and affectionate smile gracing her lips as she gazed at her young master's sleeping face. "Oh dear," she thought to herself. Suddenly, soft meow, meow sounds echoed from somewhere, and the jet-black tail of a cat gently wagged. The meows grew louder, more persistent, finally breaking Jin's sleep. He stirred slightly, muttering drowsily, too noisy." Sunlight streaming through the window made Jin squint before slowly sitting up, rubbing his eyes. Did I fall asleep?"
Jin remembered Murakan's words. "What's so funny? I'll be hiding and following you anyway, so don't worry." In front of Jin, a black cat sat regally by the door, its ears twitching, its mouth wide open as if silently screaming. Jin froze, stammering, "You said you'd hide and follow me? Do you mean transform into a cat like this?" As soon as he finished speaking, the black cat bristled, bared its sharp claws, and growled menacingly, its eyes glowing brightly in the darkness. Faced with such a fierce reaction, Jin quickly waved his hands, his voice full of apology. All right, I'm sorry. It's just that I was a bit surprised. I didn't think you'd be in this form. It seemed the apology worked, as the black cat calmed down and leaped into the house. Jin said, I thought you'd disguise yourself as one of my servants, like a coachman or something. Hearing that, the black cat immediately froze, and a stream of dark, gloomy aura began to emanate from its body. With a resounding thump, the cat vanished, replaced by Murakan in his human form, his face seething with murderous intent. He roared furiously, If I did that, your family's knights would find me immediately. Do you know how much trouble I went through following her? Suddenly, Murakan flipped a floorboard into his face, causing a loud sound.
The room door burst open with a loud bang. Gilly rushed in, her face distraught. Young master, what's wrong? Before her was a bizarre sight. Jin stood there, looking somewhat awkward, while a strange man with disheveled black hair was kneeling on the floor, holding his head as if in pain. Immediately, Gilly's concern turned into extreme rage. A terrifying blue aura fiercely erupted around her, and in an instant, Gilly unleashed 2 sharp steel claws. Gilly lunged forward, grabbing the strange man by his collar. Her eyes glowed with a murderous red. She roared, You! How dare you lay a hand on the young master? Tell me who you are before I tear you into 1,000 pieces. Seeing the situation escalate, Jin frantically cried out, Wait, Gilly, this person is... But before he could finish, Murakan, who had been pale with fear, suddenly froze. A thought flashed through his mind. Gilly? Is this Gilly? His terror immediately vanished, replaced by an expression of incredible rapture. His cheeks flushed and his eyes shone brightly with infatuation. He gently extended his hand towards Gilly. Oh, my strawberry cake, Murakan whispered sweetly. I've finally met you. I've been so eager for the day we would meet. Gilly froze, her anger completely gone, leaving only extreme bewilderment. Strawberry cake? The atmosphere in the room suddenly became incredibly awkward. Standing behind, Jin could only cover his face with his hand, a desperate thought echoing in his mind. It's over.